Bob Woodward, like one of the squarest guys in the world, gets to tell the story of what it was like to live in New York City in the 70s.
Yeah.
Really? In the late 70s and 80s? Like he knew what the story was? Come on.
Yeah. That must have been a magical time.
It was cool. It was really fun. You know, it was a smaller city in a funny way. There was a lot more freedom. And it was, when I got there, the town was broke, the town was falling apart, and, the subways were rough, and, people, to me it was exciting. I didn't, what the hell, I know I came from Illinois, from Chicago, from the suburbs of the city, and Chicago was pretty, it was a city, and in some, it had its own hazards. There was some more hazard where I lived in Chicago was more dangerous than where I lived in New York ever, but the city was, the economic part of it, and the infrastructure was, like the subways were, people complain about the subways now. I was like, wait a second, these subways are air conditioned and the windows close. Those windows were open summer and winter, and you either froze or you had like metal shavings dust flying through in the summer with no heat, with no air conditioning. And, if it's 97 degrees out, it's even hotter inside of a crowded subway car, So
that was also back when Times Square was Times Square.
And it was cool. Yeah, Times Square is just as weird now, but it's just a different weird. They sort of tried to sanitize it, and it's kind of stupid. Now there's a lot more lights and everything. There's more signs, but the signs were always cool. When they were neon, they were cool.
Yeah.
Now they're just these glow lights, and they just keep moving and dancing, and it's people with like vision problems shouldn't be out, and people, who are the people that are supposed to watch out for strobe lights?
Yeah, epileptics.
Yeah, epileptics can't walk through Times Square, and 42nd Street is blah. It's like dull,
It's an Applebee's.
Back then it was like, wow.
Yeah, it's a giant Applebee's.
Yeah.
It's a giant Applebee's with huge ads, giant LCD ads.
But it was cool back then. You could see stuff. There was real stuff to see. Not that it's still real, but it's just a different real. There's a lot more. It's a whole international world now, which it wasn't back then. Back then it was just like the street survivors of the city at the very, the physical center of it.